Have you ever gotten to the end of the day and realized you didn't make a single decision just for you? Not what you ate, not what you listened to, not even what you thought about. And then that quiet thought sneaks in, when did I stop existing outside of everyone else's needs? If motherhood has you feeling like you're slowly fading into the background of your own life, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about how to protect who you are while you're raising kids. Not by doing more, not by finding yourself, but by learning how to stop disappearing in the first place. My name is Chrissy Bold. I'm a stay-at-home mom to 2 little boys, and this is Mom's Guide to Finding Herself. I've told this story so many times, but it is such an important one. When my second baby was little and I was home with 2 under 2, I thought everything was fine and I was managing okay. But then I found myself lying in bed one night thinking to myself, am I even a person anymore? I had no idea what I wanted. Not in this big existential way, in a painfully simple way. What did I want to do later that night? Did I want to watch something, read something, sit in silence? I honestly didn't know, and that scared me because I hadn't lost myself in this big, dramatic, obvious way. I didn't wake up one morning and think, well, there I go. It happened quietly and gradually through a million tiny moments of choosing everyone else first. It's saying yes when you mean no. It's putting off your needs because they aren't urgent. It's telling yourself, I'll get back to me later. And the hardest part, everyone praised me for it. You don't lose yourself overnight. You leak yourself out. Moms don't wake up one day and think, I no longer exist. Most moms think losing yourself looks like burnout or a breakdown, but it's so much more subtle than that. More often, it looks like this. It's when you stop finishing sentences about yourself. When every introduction becomes, oh, I'm so-and-so's mom. When your inner world gets quieter because no one is asking about it anymore, including you. You stop having opinions that don't directly relate to your kids. You stop noticing when something doesn't feel good because pushing through has become second nature. You don't disappear all at once. You leak yourself out through constant interruption, chronic self-abandonment, saying it's fine when it's not, waiting until your needs feel important enough to matter. And slowly your inner world gets quieter. Protecting your sense of self starts with noticing where you're leaking. Ask yourself, where do I automatically put myself last without questioning it? Where do I feel resentful but tell myself I shouldn't? What parts of me only exist in my head now? Those answers are not problems. They're clues. But motherhood makes self-erasure feel normal. Here's the thing no one says out loud. Motherhood rewards self-erasure. You are praised for being selfless, for sacrificing, for being everything to everyone. And while love and devotion are real and beautiful, the message underneath it is dangerous. A good mom doesn't need much. But you're not just a role. You are a person inside the role. And when your entire worth is measured by how much you give, it becomes incredibly easy to forget that you're allowed to receive and to choose and to exist independently too. This isn't a personal failure. It's a cultural one. Now, we need to talk about balance for a second. Balance sounds nice, but it implies that everything gets equal time and energy. That's not realistic in this season. Instead of balance, think protection. Protection sounds firm and intentional and non-negotiable. Your sense of self needs boundaries the same way your time does. Boundaries like, I don't owe an explanation for every choice I make. I don't need to justify rest. I don't have to optimize every free moment. I'm allowed to want things that don't benefit anyone else. These boundaries will make some people uncomfortable. That discomfort is often the cost of not disappearing. Sometimes we miss the warning signs because they don't look dramatic. Here are some of the quieter ones. You feel numb instead of sad. You fantasize about being alone more than you fantasize about joy. You feel irritated when people need you, even though you love them. You can't answer the question, what do you enjoy, without thinking really hard. These aren't signs that you're ungrateful. They're signs that your identity is undernourished. And just like hunger, it doesn't go away if you ignore it. So many moms only give themselves permission to matter once they're completely depleted, once they're snapping, once they're crying in the shower, once they're Googling, why do I feel like this at midnight? But your sense of self deserves attention before you hit survival mode. You don't wait until your car breaks down to change the oil. You don't wait until your phone dies to charge it. Hopefully. Caring for yourself doesn't need to be earned through suffering. Small, consistent protections matter. 10 minutes of uninterrupted quiet. Choosing what you actually want and not what's easiest. Doing something inefficient but enjoyable. Letting something be just for you. You shouldn't have to fall apart to justify caring for yourself. You are allowed to change without abandoning yourself. One of the hardest identity shifts in motherhood is realizing that the old definitions don't fit anymore. And instead of creating new ones, we panic, or we cling to them, or we cling to nothing at all. Protecting your sense of self doesn't mean going back to who you were. It means staying in a relationship with who you are becoming. Protecting your sense of self means letting it evolve without abandoning it. You don't have to go back to who you were. You don't have to have a clear passion or a big dream or know your thing or have long-term goals. You need curiosity. You need check-ins. You need permission to evolve. Identity isn't something you find once. It is something that you tend. Now let's get really tangible here, because I know a lot of you are thinking, this all sounds good, but what does this actually look like in my real life? Protecting your sense of self doesn't happen through one big breakthrough moment. It happens through small, intentional practices that build on each other. Here are a few grounded, doable ways to start protecting yourself in this season. They're things to practice instead of just things to think about. So I want you to imagine this, not as a to-do list, but as an invitation. One small focus at a time. Name yourself daily. This sounds simple, but it's powerful. At the end of the day, ask yourself, not what did I do, not how did the kids behave, but who was I today? Were you patient, curious, exhausted but trying? Creative for 5 minutes? Honest when something didn't feel good? This is how you start remembering that you are a person having an internal experience, not just someone managing everyone else's. You're not just mom. You're still you, and you deserve to be named. Claim small decisions. One of the fastest ways we lose ourselves in motherhood is by giving up choice without realizing it. You listen to what works for everyone else. You eat what's left. You wear what's practical. You scroll because you're too tired to decide. So today, you practice making micro choices. What music do you want? What do you want to wear, even if it's still just the leggings? What do you want to read or watch for 10 minutes? These decisions might feel insignificant, but they send a powerful message to your brain. I still get a say. Micro choices add up to identity. Create one protected pocket of time. This is where a lot of moms get stuck because you're waiting for the perfect chunk of time. But here's the truth. If you're waiting for an hour, you'll be waiting forever. Protection is about consistency, not length. So we're talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 on a good day. A pocket of time that is yours, not productive, not optimized, not explained. This could be sitting in silence, writing a few thoughts, working on something just because you want to, doing nothing at all. And yes, it might get interrupted sometimes. That doesn't mean it doesn't count. What matters is that you keep coming back to yourself. Stop explaining yourself so much. Notice how often you justify your needs. I just need a minute because I know this sounds silly, but I feel bad for asking, but what if for one day you didn't over-explain? You don't need a permission slip to rest. You don't need a perfect reason to want space. You don't need to convince anyone that your needs are valid. Protecting your sense of self means trusting yourself enough to stop defending your existence. Let desire be enough. This one can feel uncomfortable, especially for moms. Ask yourself, what do I want right now? Without turning it into a plan or a side hustle or a justification. Not everything has to be useful. Not everything has to benefit someone else. Not everything has to make sense. Desire is data. It tells you that you are still alive. If this episode felt like it put words to something that you've been carrying, share it with a mom who might need to hear this too. Make sure you're following the show so you don't miss future episodes. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leaving a 5-star rating and a written review helps this message reach even more moms who might feel invisible right now. You can also find me on Instagram at Mom Identity Project, where we keep having these conversations. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, but how do I actually start protecting my sense of self? I created something just for you. It's called the Mom Identity Starter Kit, and it's designed to help you do 3 things without adding more to your plate. Help you find your thing, find the time for it in real life, and make a simple, realistic plan to actually make it happen. This isn't about reinventing yourself or adding pressure. It's about reconnecting with who you are in a way that feels doable and supportive. You can grab the Mom Identity Starter Kit through the link in the show notes or at momidentityproject.com/starter kit and take the first step toward choosing yourself again. Now, have you ever noticed how motherhood comes with this invisible rule book? Rules about how you should parent, or how your house should look, or how grateful you should feel. How you should still somehow have it all together while running on 4 hours of broken sleep. In the next episode, I'm sharing the rules that I stopped following after becoming a mom, the ones that were quietly draining me, and how letting them go made me feel lighter and calmer and a lot more like me again. If you've been feeling exhausted for reasons you can't quite name, this episode might explain why. Until then, take a moment for yourself and remember that you are an amazing mom just the way you are.